We're going to critique a song called Beef and Broccoli by the Immortal technique. And I got to preface this by saying I'm a huge fan of Immortal technique.
When we discuss Illuminati and when we discuss secret societies, we have no further to look than the corporations, than the Food and Drug Administration. You know, these are real conspiracies.
The Middle East was divided a long time ago through a treaty called Sykes-Picot, where the European nations decided that Turkey or the Ottoman Empire was the sick man of Europe, so they cut it up.
He has salient points on a variety of different topics. It just so happens that with this one, his logic, I think his rationale, his consciousness has somehow just left the building. I'm sorry, Immortal Technique. I still freaking love you, man. But let's just check out the video and let's take it step by step. Immortal Technique, Beef and Broccoli.
Look, let me make something abundantly clear for people that are so bereft of activities, they feel like they gotta comment on every one of mine. First of all, being a vegetarian should never be associated with being a revolutionary or...
What? Being a vegetarian should never be associated with being a revolutionary or being
open-minded.
Being open-minded? Well, first of all, let's have a look at what a revolution is, what it is to be a revolutionary. Define revolution.
Revolution means a forcible overthrow of a government or social order in favor of a new system.
Okay, I like that. A forcible overthrow of a government or social order in favor of a new system, in favor of something that is better. Now, Immortal Technique, the current system of animal agriculture, the system that requires you to eat meat, is not efficient. It's first of all fucking immoral.
Being a vegetarian should never be associated with being a revolutionary or being open-minded. That's a dietary choice.
Responsible for so many of the viruses that we've seen in history, from tuberculosis, measles, the list goes on and on. Recently, there was a superbug that came about in China.
Mutation discovered in people and livestock in China has been found to make bacteria resistant to all antibiotics, including last resort drugs. So what exactly caused this gene mutation, you ask, while eating your ham sandwich and chicken salad? Feeding animals antibiotic drugs caused this mutation, and the WHO warned about this, calling for the restriction of colostin back in 2012.
A huge part of that is due to us injecting these animals with antibiotics, which perpetuates these superbugs. So the fact that it's not ethical, it's not good for the environment, and quite frankly is not good for you. I mean, if there's anything we've learned over the last couple of years, there's more and more information coming into the fore that meat leads to cancer, meat leads to various heart diseases. There's an abundant amount of evidence for that. The World Health Organization released that processed meats are now considered a Class 1 carcinogen, and meat in of itself is a Class 2A carcinogen. So the fact that it clearly is not healthy, it's not ethical, and there is a much better system, a system that doesn't require us to exploit animals and doesn't require us to destroy our environment. I mean, animal agriculture is responsible for up to something like 51% of CO2 emissions. It takes 18 times more land, 13 times more water, and it's just an inefficient way of doing things. The fact that we can use a plant-based system, a vegetarian system, a vegan system, would imply that it is better. By definition, if we can replace the current system with a new one, that would be a revolution. And that's what we're trying to do here. So I'm telling you, man, yes, vegetarianism is a revolutionary thought. I mean, I understand that this current system is something that you've been brought up following, and it's very difficult to be open-minded towards an idea that is so against your tradition. But that's what being open-minded is all about, embracing new and better ideas, to be constantly questioning your default position. It's difficult to do that when you have a bias, when you're so invested in something, when you love the taste of bacon, when you love the taste of chicken. I get it. I get it. But it's not a good enough reason to continue doing something. when it's so detrimental. Let's go on. Let's go on.
That's a dietary choice. If someone wants to proliferate the type of ignorance we're supposed to be fighting by thinking that, you're just fucking yourself. I don't go around promoting beef and poultry, shoving it in people's faces. I don't castigate people for not eating steak sandwiches.
Well, of course you don't, because you're doing something that's wrong. Vegetarians and vegans, they're not doing anything wrong. They're doing something that is by far less harmful. Therefore, they have every right to be trying to bring people up to a higher level of ethics. I mean, if I was not a murderer and you were a murderer, let's say you wanted to kill human beings and eat them, and I just wanted to, let's say, not kill human beings and eat them, then I would have every right to call you up and say, hey man, you probably shouldn't be killing human beings and eating them because it's not very ethical. But for you to be trying to force me to eat human beings would be ridiculous, right? This is the insanity of the situation. Of course you're not promoting what you're doing because deep down you know that it's not an ethical thing. The whole idea, the whole push for vegetarians and vegans to be promoting this is where it's coming from. This is why you see so many vegans that are constantly sharing memes on Facebook. They're not doing this because they want to be saying, hey, in your face, man, Nate Diaz freaking beat Conor McGregor, ha ha ha. They're saying this fundamentally because they're promoting this idea that you don't need to be eating meat to be healthy. And the underlying motivation is that they feel sorry for the many billions of animals that are slaughtered, and they'd rather you did not do that. And the most effective way of promoting this idea is to educate people, to show them there is another option that is effective. That's why vegans and vegetarians are proliferating this information. They're proselytizing this message. Of course, meat eaters don't really feel the need to do that because they know what they're doing is not as ethical.
And I would never diss someone for being a fucking broccoli head or living off radishes or eating grass with tofu. I like a lot of vegan cuisine, but the illogicality of expecting everyone to adopt their particular idea of what being healthy is just preposterous.
Alright. Immortal Technique, I know you're a dope, intelligent person. I respect your intelligence. I think you're just making asinine arguments over here. Yes, it is illogical to expect everyone to adopt this diet. It may be illogical, but you know what? A few hundred years ago, it would have been illogical to expect the majority of the public to put an end to slavery. However, just because something isn't going to likely be achieved in your lifetime or in the next couple hundred years, or even that, doesn't mean it's not worth striving for. It's worth striving to do what is right purely for that reason. It is the right thing to do. And sometimes it's best to work from a place of virtue as opposed to a place of what is possible. I mean, it's better to have the mindset that you can achieve anything. That's what being a revolutionary is all about. Having the wisdom, having the strength, the fortitude, the gumption to strive to achieve the impossible. And I understand what you're saying. You can't expect everyone to adopt this attitude. However, it doesn't mean it's not worth striving for.
I seen some of you herbivores, and if you want to argue health, y'all need to eat some kind of supplement, because some of y'all are so skinny that it's disgusting.
Touche. Look, there are many very skinny vegetarians, many skinny vegans. There are also many skinny meat eaters out there, but I will tell you one thing, on a scientific level, vegans are the only people that are at their correct BMI. Body mass index. So the argument that they're at this unhealthy weight just doesn't make any sense. And we know, I mean, I would say that ostensibly now people are aware that vegetarianism, veganism is healthier purely because it is abundantly clear that you don't need to eat meat in order to live a long, healthy life. In fact, the longest living people in the world would be the Californian Seventh-day Adventists and the Okinawans within this blue area. Now, the Okinawans have a very, very small amount of meat, and the Californian Seventh-day Adventists, they're vegetarians. Now, these people are living well above the average life expectancy of the planet. They're the oldest living people, and they're on a vegetarian diet. What's more, we know that some of the biggest killers of people in this world are related to the consumption of meat. World Health Organization released just last year that processed meat causes cancer, colorectal cancer. It also is related to many other problems, from diverticulitis, trichinosis. Many of the problems that we experience in the Western world are related to the consumption of meat. So it is abundantly clear that it's healthier to forego the consumption of these products and to stick to a more plant-based diet. I understand that we've been brought up in a society where everyone does it, but that's once again what being a revolutionary is about: questioning the status quo, having the foresight, the originality to look behind the indoctrinated mindsets of people and see the truth for what it really is, which is something I know that you're well capable of.
Looking like the only hip-hop motherfuckers on Schindler's List. Being a malnutrition ass got nothing to do with being revolutionary or being on point. I'll be damned if I let somebody else push their agenda on me. You know,
I get it. The guy's being super defensive. You're being really, really defensive. And this is the same thing that I experience whenever I speak to people that are close to me and have just had enough. They start making dumb arguments. You reach a point where the arguments become worse and worse and worse, and it just resolves in, well, fuck you, man. Stop freaking pushing your religion onto me. You're Hitler, man. You freaking vegetarians, you're like Hitler, trying to get me to stop freaking paying people to kill animals. Fuck you. This is what happens. This is why I think it's better to avoid having these confrontations with people and just try to encourage them to raise their consciousness. Try to show them what's possible.
eat pork, not cause I'm a Muslim, I just don't really like it, but I really will fuck a bird up. And fish is good when that shit is fresh. It's like my nigga Vastair from Canuck said, if you don't like the smell of burning meat, then get the fuck off the planet.
Oh, smack. If you don't like the smell of burning meat, get the fuck off the planet. Powerful, yeah. I heard that a couple of years back. Some guy mentioned that to me, and I thought, yeah, that's pretty cool. Then I found out it was an Immortal technique quote. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, the guy's not as intelligent as I thought. And look what, you know what? I understand where you're coming from. Get off the planet. But no, I'm not going to get off the planet. I understand that I live in this planet that is somewhat insane. I mean, insanity is a sane response to an insane environment. And the reality of the situation is that we live in a world where there are so many insane people. There are so many insane people. They have adopted this idea that is unbelievably wrong, unbelievably unhealthy, and is destroying the environment. And you know what? Because of the kind of person I am, I want to elevate the state of consciousness of the masses. And I understand how arrogant that may sound, but I would rather invest my time in trying to help people and help these non-human animals that live on this planet rather than getting off, rather than saying, "Screw you guys, I'm getting hurt." I'd rather stay here and try to change the current paradigm. That's what revolutionary people do. They look at danger in the face and try to overcome it, as opposed to running away home, crying to mama, and saying, this planet's not for me.
You know, I don't criticize people for eating moss. Man, don't open your fucking mouth about my food, man. I like beef and broccoli, motherfucker. Mind your goddamn business. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm out. I feel like some arroz con pollo, a banana daiquiri, and a motherfucking bistec apanado.
And to wind things down, the guy's just had enough. Just starts yelling out obscenities, saying fuck you, which is the last reaction that I find from people when they have nothing else to say. They just say, screw you, fuck you, I'm going home, I don't want to argue with you anymore. And it's understandable. Look, Immortal Technique, I still massively respect you, brother. It is unfortunate, I think, in a few hundred years' time, or maybe not even that, when we look back on your work, I think this is going to be a great cause for doubt on your revelry. The fact that you are so against the movement that is without a doubt a more ethical movement, a more environmentally friendly movement, and a healthier movement, purely because you like the taste of bacon and your beef. You're not willing to open your mind to this revolutionary idea. Having said that, I still salute you, brother, and I would invite you to consider whether or not eating meat is a moral thing to do when it's not necessary, and whether or not you should be embracing a more virtuous lifestyle. Ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks, legendary peeps, peace out, keep it real. Give us a thumbs up if you like this message, thumbs down if you hate it. Keep making those ethical games. Boom, shaka, laka. Yeah.
Life's purpose is to feel joy. Metaphysical, lyrical, saying nothing truth. The only one to make change is walking in your shoes. Be the example, don't complain about the news. Making music and serving the world with the loot. Now you can be the same, or you can be the change. Find strength from inside, break through the chains. No one to blame, nothing to prove. You create your reality, it's up to you. Be the change.